as a shock to most likely nobody at this point, Brandon Scherff has officially retired. Now, we talked about this all offseason that he might retire, he might play again, his future was up in the air. He ended up retiring, which also makes logical sense because I don't know if any team was reaching out to him or trying to go after him, but it is what it is. He is now officially off the market, and he is now retired, which makes potentially, and I say potentially because we know it's not going to happen, the Bengals actually wanting to improve their offensive line and help out Joe Burrow. It makes really the only option available now is Dalton Risner. That's really the only option. Now, Dalton Risner has been very vocal. He does want to, he would love to play for a team like the Bengals. He's been very vocal about that. Now, based on what we understand, there has never been an attempt for the Bengals to reach out to Dalton Risner to try to get him. So, they've had many opportunities, but they have always decided not to. Outside of him, you see how this situation looks right now. I mean, when you really start to break this down, there isn't any options outside of Dalton Risner. Again, I say this with the fact I don't think the Bengals are interested in picking up a guard. I think that they're full-heartedly want to go into the season with Lucas Patrick and Cody Ford as 1A, 1B. Will that work out? Only time will tell. But the options are not there. They're just not there anymore. We had options. We had plenty of time to get options, to figure something out. And they didn't. They decided that it was not worth it. So, center, if you want to just make the argument what if a center plays guard? Something like that. Now, they could always move Teddy K, for example, to right guard or left guard. And then maybe, center could be Seth McLaughlin, who's been looking pretty good. Could also be Matt Lee at center. There's options they could do. But, again, it's one of those things where it's I don't think it's going to happen. And we look at last year with the whole Cordell Volson situation. Cordell Volson was benched after week 7, and they replaced him with Cody Ford. At any point, right, they could have tried to trade away Cordell Volson and gotten, even a smidge of a draft pick, maybe a 6th, 7th round pick for him, right? Because they knew he was obviously going to get benched. But even maybe not trade him away, they could have traded for somebody. So, last year, Cordell Volson gets benched week 7. You're still around the trade deadline, right? You could trade for anybody. You could go out there. You could say, hey, listen, we're going to try to get another guard. Because Cody Ford at the end of the day, well, yes, he has potential to be great. You rather have someone who's maybe more defined, someone who knows a little bit more higher level play, right? You want to trade for someone who you feel can help you go win a Super Bowl. Especially when it comes to protecting your quarterback, you want to go get someone like that. The Bengals said no. The Bengals said absolutely no. They're not going to trade for anybody. They're not going to trade away Cordell Volson. Again, trading away Cordell Volson might be a fever dream because I don't know who would give us anything for him. They'd probably give us a 7th round pick for him just because he's younger. But even trading for someone, they benched in week 7. They knew up to week 7 that they were going to bench Cordell Volson. At some point, let's say maybe they started thinking about week 5, right? They had plenty of time to send maybe a 5th round pick somewhere and get another offensive lineman at right guard and bring him on the squad, and maybe he'll end up being the guy. Maybe he'll end up helping us. They said no. They said we'd rather go with Cody Ford at right guard. And then if Cody Ford goes down, whatever, right? And again, it's you're trying to go to the Super Bowl. You're trying to go win a Super Bowl. When you get to the playoffs, it's a very, very long run to the Super Bowl. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be trials and tribulations. You're going into the rest of the season and the postseason with the mindset that Cody Ford is our starting right guard and we have no plan B. which again just sounds butt backwards, and it is absolutely butt backwards. Which again, I got on them, last year when this happened, because like they could have easily traded for someone. They could have easily said, okay, you know what, we'll give a 5th round, 6th round pick, and we'll go get a decent backup guard that we can start, and we're gonna protect Joe, and this is how we're gonna go about it. But instead, they said, nope, we're gonna bench Cordell Volson, and Cody Ford, you're the starter, and we have no plan B. Like, you can't go into a deep playoff run and not have depth, not have backups, not have situations. Because if not, you go into a deep playoff run, and then what are you going to say? Well, that's unfortunate that we lost that starting piece on our team. Well, backups, oh no, we don't have a backup, but hey, we tried. We tried. Like, look back to the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago. Feels like forever now. But back when we played the Chiefs in the championship game, the last drive, we had the ball. We're in scoring range, could win that game. What happens? Hakeem gets thrown straight back into Joe Burrow by Chris Jones. Now, I'm not saying that any lineman is going to go against Chris Jones, but they're probably going to be better against than Hakeem was. And he gets thrown right back into Joe Burrow. He gets sacked. We punt the ball. Joseph Asai, you remember. It's just... And again, this is because you go into the playoffs and you have to know, okay, we need to have that depth. I'm not saying you go out there and get 2 starting right tackles and spend a fortune. No. But you get someone who you feel confident that could be the backup. If we go into this game, and Lucas Patrick has more injuries, or he just simply is not the guy, again, Cody Ford the guy? But even last year, again, we didn't have that option. Just frustrated. I'm just frustrated. We have, a month before the game. Well, less than a month now before the season starts. Just protect the quarterback, man. Just protect the quarterback. It's like it's the most principled thing ever. Trenches. Win in the offensive trenches, win in the defensive trenches. Offensive line, defensive line. You got to do that. You got to focus on that. It's how you build your squad. It's how you build your team. And instead, it's like, we're just going to go with fluff it and see how that turns out. And maybe fluff it will work. Or we'll get you fired. Who knows? Peace out.